Corruption and seemingly never-ending wars continue to tarnish Africa in the eyes of the world. Now, some countries are battling terrorism, but leaders don't appear to be playing their part in finding solutions. Now, at the same time, some African countries are still denying the severity of COVID-19. So where has it all gone wrong? Well, we speak to now Mazwe Majola, a leadership expert. A very good afternoon to you, Mr. Majola, and thank you so much for your time. So perhaps, the idea or the thinking shouldn't be us looking good in the eyes of the rest of the world, because some might say it is the rest of the world that has put Africa in the kind of precarious position it has found itself in forever. Would you agree?
Well, I agree. We must go back to basics. We must start to look inwardly as Africans and stop relying and depending on the North and the West. Africa, it's very hurting, it's very agonizing that this continent that is so rich and wealthy is not going anywhere. I mean, we're still bemoaning about the development of Africa. We are still depending and begging the North and the West. Africa is suffering from poor leadership. Africa is suffering from bad leadership. Africa is suffering from corruption, from greed, from malfeasance. Africa as a continent is suffering from leadership or leaders who have abandoned the spirit of ubuntu, the spirit of caring, sharing, solidarity, justice, empathy. And that is why we are not going anywhere. Unfortunately, it's a continent that is bereft of visionaries, innovation and invention, and very, very unfortunate and very, very sad indeed.
Mr. Majola, you're saying that Ubuntu has been abandoned, but now I want to ask you, was there ever even any Ubuntu on this continent? I talk about the killings of the Patrice Lumumbas of the world, the Thomas Sankaras of the world, visionaries, as you're saying, we are bereft of on this continent. Was there any Ubuntu when those people who tried to lead Africa into the promised land and rid it of, the influence of the Western worlds, they were, annihilated?
Well, Africa as a philosophy, as a worldview, as a lifestyle stems from Africa. Of course, yes, there was Africa until colonization, and then until Europe and other North and West countries came to Africa, and obviously they confused us. We are a confused continent, So Ubuntu was there. That is why I say we just need to go back to basics, and our leaders must begin to respect people. I mean, we've been talking about Uganda now. You've got a leader there, a president, who has been in power for more than 35 years. And then you've got a leader or a president in Rwanda who has been in power, although he's been dubbed as a Western star, but unfortunately he has been in power for more than 25 years or so. So unfortunately you've got these leaders who cling on to power, and they don't want to leave and account and give other leaders a chance, or with other people with ideas. We are a youthful continent. We should be doing very well, and it's very agonizing that we are really still lamenting these ills of our continent.
Isn't that our fault, Mr. Majola, as the citizens, as the people that are being led by these people who've been in power for 3 decades? I mean, someone like Robert Mugabe, for example. Isn't that our fault? Aren't we the ones who have the power to get them out?
Well, they've got a political way of doing it. Unfortunately, you know what happened in Zimbabwe, and as I'm talking about Uganda, talking about Rwanda, they've got a way of manipulating a constitution. A president of Rwanda, if I'm not mistaken, has just amended the constitution that allows him to be in power, I think, he can be in power until 2034, something like that. So politically, they've got a way of manipulating constitutions, manipulating the people, and of course, yes, you're right, probably the people themselves, they've not stood up enough against these wrongdoings. Unfortunately, we are just lamenting and bemoaning, but not doing anything.
But in the same breath, let me then look at it this way. You have a man in his 30s, Bobby Wine, who tried to challenge Yoweri Museveni, and he essentially had his life that was put under threat. So then, of course, there is that issue of you do have young minds, as a youthful continent you say we are. We do have young minds who do want to take over the power from these old people who, of course, are refusing to evolve with the times, but then their lives are in danger. So, you know, it could be a matter of, although we are the ones that have the power, we don't actually have the power.
They instill an unbelievable fear, these leaders, and they use the state machinery, the military, the police. They manipulate things. People are very scared, I mean, of these leaders. You know, for those who stand up against them, as you are saying, they end up in jails. They are intimidated, threatened, others to the point of probably being killed. So the environment is not conducive for democracy, unfortunately, and they made it to be like that. And they manipulated people, and people have come to a point where they are just agreeing, following, even though they know that this is wrong. I bet you, if anything happens or anyone for challenges a person like you very Museveni of Uganda, all these other people, they'll say, yes, but it's correct. It shouldn't have been like this for so long. They know about it, but because of the fear that these people instill, and then they are not in a position to challenge them.